with the Heat and Bucks. Giannis goes down.
Yeah.
Heat, a team that was anemic offensively this year, comes alive, scores 130 points. And this is why I picked the Heat to make it out of the play-in rounds, because Jimmy Butler, he flips the switch in the playoffs. You also had a great game with Kevin Love comes alive off the bench. You also see Bam Adebayo. He plays pretty well. And the Heat are alive again. They play defense. They had a couple of guys get some big buckets for him. And this is a game that they needed to win with Giannis going down. If he misses next game, maybe the Heat take that game as well.
Yeah.
So the Heat, they're a scary team.
Yeah, I feel like the thing people forget about the NBA is it slows down a lot, and those one possession, can I meet a guy at the rim? Can I get a crucial rebound matters? And when you have a fiery leader like Jimmy Butler who only cares about the playoffs, it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the team, especially in the regular season. Because you look at a guy like Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo's not very useful in the regular season. In the playoffs, he's a very good asset for that team because his 15 and 13 in the playoffs and 3 blocks matters a lot more. Those one possession we need to stop where he locks in Eric Spoelstra as a head coach versus Mike Budenholzer. I feel like Eric Spoelstra can get the better of him. So if Giannis is banged up so bad that he had to not come back in the game, he's not going to be 100%. And I feel like a hurt Giannis could definitely hinder the Bucks a little bit, especially if he's not able to get to his spot. So I feel like with Jimmy Butler and then Tyler Hero came down, but it didn't matter because Duncan Robinson came in there and he still ripped some threes. Duncan Robinson came off the bench and he had that bubble run where he was an electric shooter with him and Tyler Hero, and you paid him $72 million. And you paid him for a reason because he can shoot. And he came in the game, even though he's not a good defender, shot. Max Strus and Gabe Vincent. It's like the two-way players. It's like they just remind me of like those players that like 2K creates and they spawn. Then you just get this Gabe Vincent guy, like, oh, 3-and-D guy, like
it becomes
guy.
An 88 overall.
Yeah, and then he becomes like an 88. You're like, oh, that guy from like 5 years ago when I sent him to head. And then you have Jimmy Butler there, and then Kevin Love was a crucial part. You have veteran leadership on this team. Jimmy Butler's just one of those guys that's like, they're never going to blow you out, even though they did in this game, but they're never going to get blown out. And I don't think they're going to get destroyed by the Bucks. So I'm interested, and especially winning on the road, that makes things a lot more interesting.
You know what this team reminds me of? I was trying to find a comparison when I was watching it, and I'm going to make an NFL comparison. They remind me of the 2010 Ravens for a couple of reasons. Pre-Lamar. Because they're a team that when you enter the playoffs, you don't think about them. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, the Heat, they don't, they were battling for a playoff spot this year, whatever. Same with the Ravens of that time, the Joe Flacco era. And then they enter the playoffs and you realize like, oh, damn, defensively, they got Terrell Suggs, they got Ray Lewis, they got Ed Reed. That defense is monstrous. And then offensively, it's like, oh, they got Ray Rice, they got Jacoby Jones, and Joe Flacco actually really isn't that bad. He actually, that one Super Bowl when he was played some of the best football in NFL history, numbers-wise. So they remind me of the Ravens because every year you forget about them, they sneak in, and then they usually upset somebody. They've upset the Patriots a number of times. They upset the Colts a number of times with Peyton Manning. They upset a number of great teams, made it to multiple conference championship games, and going into each of those playoff runs, nobody expects them to do it.
Right.
So they remind me of the 2010 era Ravens.
That's hilarious because, well, they're not like the same style of player. Joe Flacco and Tyler Hero are definitely a really good comp where Tyler Hero just makes some dumb passes. Like he just had like a simple flip where he threw a bounce pass out of bounds, like nonchalantly. But then all of a sudden he can get crazy hot and unstoppable. So it's like, honestly, yeah, I like the comparison with the Miami Heat, and it's definitely going to be a tough series, but it's sad seeing Giannis go down for sure.
Yes.
It's something that I feel like definitely took the wind out of the Bucks, and you're not beating Jimmy Butler, who smells blood in the water, with Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. It's like, sorry, that's not going to happen. I mean, Bobby Portis can come in, Brook Lopez, but once the players get tougher, it gets harder to score once we're making adjustments. I feel like the Heat have a good shot. I'm not ready to say that they can upset the Bucks yet, but if Giannis is out for 3 games, I think there's definitely a shot.